is buffer time? What is buffer time? Is what buffer time?
Well, hello there, buffer timers. We're here again. We're going to talk about some Academy. Not a great one for me. I hope we can. Oh, wait. And there is Dell. Wonderful. You made it, buddy.
I don't know what the hell happened, but I'm here now.
Huzzah!
Hello.
Well, that's great. Let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Dustin from Best of Trek.
I'm Josh from Windgrace Project.
I'm Dell. I'm just happy to be here.
And I'm Ren from Ren Rants.
I'm Scott from Opinions No One Cares About, and this name is true. I really did that.
Living the life, man. Living the life, truly. Doing the great koalas work. I have a feeling that before the end of this, we're going to be in a roll for episode because I don't have much to say, and I hope the panel can pull this to an hour length because somehow they pulled this episode to 55 minutes, a longer episode in the grand scheme of things. So let's start actually at the end with what Jaden finally says. Is Darum essentially an asshole?
I mean, he is sometimes kind of an asshole. He's had his pretty unpleasant moments overall. I think he's sort of the asshole with a heart of gold trope and has been from the beginning, right? Where he's often this way as a defense mechanism, and because this competitiveness and bullying behavior seem to be at least valued in his family, if not apparently a norm on his planet. So I think we're seeing Darum slowly soften up over time. And I think the reason why he's an asshole to Kyle is pretty obvious, because he's jealous as heck.
Mm-hmm. And there's
I'm a
also
little worried because to me, he was really standing in for the asshole jock who throws the younger kids up against the locker. And this is really soon to see him kind of give that up. So I'm hoping maybe running away from this marriage is going to just turn him back into a dick before we know it.
I don't know. I mean, in the very first episode, he was, being a dick to Jaden, but he was also that same episode risking his life walking on the hull of the ship to help rescue all his classmates. So we kind of knew from the very start what kind of character Darum was going to be. So I've been expecting this evolution towards the end of the season, and I thought they did a good job giving us little crumbs of it. He was more asshole in the third episode, in the Calica episode, I think, than he was in either of the first two. So we kind of had our little douchebag parabola.
I didn't take trigonometry. I don't understand.
Well, they also seem to state here, and whether or not how true it is, that this is because, at least partially so, he was never able to actually be himself back home. It's when he got to the academy, it's the first time he was putting himself front and center, and he's literally putting himself front and center in all things. So it's hopefully just kind of a phase he's learning to grow through.
His wee search for an identity.
He's definitely essentially an asshole. The moment when they're talking and it's the first time Jaden's wearing that awesome dress, which we'll get to here in a little bit. And then Darum rips his shirt. Right before that, he's Darum's telling him oh, well, it's not about you today, even though Jaden didn't ask to be here at all. He thought he was doing a good thing and a help, and he just got pulled into this. So the way Darum treated him there was just, yeah, he's essentially an asshole.
The way he went after him for his family, I was pretty pissed off about, especially because Caleb also did that. Why do people keep ragging on Jaden for getting abandoned by his family and then joining Starfleet? That's just wild. He why? He didn't cut and run. He was cut off and then ran. Like, and even if he did cut and run, like, it's okay to defy your family and choose to join Starfleet if that's what you want to do with your life. Like, what?
Is All Worlds Day the most Star Trek day ever?
I mean, it's no Picard
Certainly better
day.
than Frontier Day.
I mean, what about the people that live on space stations or asteroids?
I think
Yeah, it's kind of exclusionary there.
it's almost too happy shiny for me. Like, I know they're trying to come together after the burn, and so they're going to do all these things that are like, we all love each other, right? But they don't yet. There's still a lot of mistrust. There's still a lot of like, I guess I gotta get along with you now. And I mean, and I think that's kind of symbolized by having Orions at the Academy. I mean, they were the Emerald Chain like 5 minutes ago. And so I can't really see like the humans even being like, all right, we know you're tried to cake over the world and steal everything we had that was important to us, but you're our buddy now.
I want to know what like other holidays they have and like how they do breaks, because the fall and spring semester thing suggests that they have like the same academic calendar that like we have on Earth now typically. And I'm so curious like how you would actually like reconcile that in like a universe where like, you know, people's years are a different length. And like I know you've got the like start date component, but I'm still so curious like how that actually works. And then it's already hard, like it's already hard enough, not that we try, but it's already difficult to accommodate holidays on Earth. I'm so curious how you would actually like go about accommodating like all of the various cultural holidays on various like other planets within the Union. And I wish we got to like learn a little more about that. Like I wish we had more of it was more of a specific holiday.
That's a great
I
Miss
also,
Lower Decks
if they're
episode.
following a familial pattern, like they started school 2 weeks ago. And that for us, if they're trying to make it like understandable by us, is the fall semester. So is fall now very short on Earth, or are we rushing through time? Because
Well,
I
they
really would
skipped a
love to
month
see them
ahead.
in a
It's been a
class
month
other than with
They've
since
the
the
been
last
EMA.
doing little
episode.
time jumps between the episodes because at the start we were told that she had been only created a few months ago on Cask, Sam, and then in the Emissary episode she said she was like 235 days old at that point or something. So I think a significant like time jump occurred, but they didn't really like bring much more attention to it. So I'm also curious like how long these semesters are lasting.
So this is episode 7, so at least a couple weeks between each episode, probably. And then this one was a full month because Caleb hadn't talked to Trima in 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick disclaimer, like me as the host of this thing, I've got a blizzard sort of going on outside. It's not as bad as they had predicted, thankfully, but my lights have flickered a couple of times. And yeah, so if this thing like just dies, you guys as co-hosts, you've got like 5 minutes that you can keep talking in theory. So anyway, but things to look out for here. But yeah, what we were just talking about, that kind of leads into the next pseudo question. So a month has gone by. Has Sam really been glitching this whole time? Also, Sam's hair.
Apparently.
So cute. I love that.
Really
we
like
get
that hair.
her in like every episode. I thought we were just gonna have like the 2 puffs from the first couple episodes be her like permanent hairstyle, and I'm so glad we get this like fun variety. This is like the best of the bunch, and we hardly get to see it though.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they're selling this plot that like the EMH is holding himself at a distance from Sam, but you'd think the EMH would see her glitching out and be like, okay, I have a solve for this.
That's
Well,
the
she might
story
be
I
more
kind of wanted to see
sophisticated
here.
than him.
Yeah, Caleb seemed to have some idea of what he was doing once he sat down and wasn't just like doing it off the cuff.
Well, they did
Yeah,
have that
this
throwaway
was a
line last
decent-
episode that she needed specialists. Whether or
Yeah.
not they got them for her, I don't know.
All right, but the EMH can cure anybody of anything. He's got to, by now, having, I don't even know how many hundreds of years under his belt, know how to fix himself.
Well, she's not a Starfleet hologram, though. She was
That's-
made by the Caskians, so she's probably got just like a whole different thing going on. She's
Which
also
I
like
really-
brand new. He's just been augmenting
Yeah.
a 900-year-old hologram at this point. So I can see him like not being able to fix her, but it would be nice to see him like fussing over her a little bit more and like imply
Yeah.
that he had tried.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm going to do a best 5, worst 5 hair in Star Trek. Now, and this is going to win by like a lot. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
anything else
great.
touches this. So 10 out of
It's
10,
so
no
great.
notes on the hair.
If these seasons were a decent length, then I think they would devote an entire episode to Sam being fixed, and we would watch it happen, and we'd probably see something like
Yeah.
inside her head that was, representative of of like the process of her program being repaired. And I do believe the Doctor would also be involved because in the end he does have empathy for holographic beings.
And that's
Could
the
be
episode
something-
I would have rather
But no,
seen
we're not going to
here.
get that because we get even 20 episodes a season.
No, we
be
get to
something
see
like
them sticking their
Birthright
hands
Part
in,
1.
in goo for 10 minutes instead.
Del?
I'm just going to say I agree with Scott 100,000%. I think this would have been a great episode if we had 26 more coming. But it just didn't have enough Star Trek meat
Mm-hmm.
for me to feel like this was a full episode.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, I guess we can use this to segue into like. So a Klingon in a dress. I mean, we've been talking about Jaden in a skirt for a while, but like, fucking, we're going from this amazing like 10 out of 10 hair that we see for seconds on screen to this thing that I'm just like, as a tailor, also I kind of love this Koyonian stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Oh, yeah, this is
him
great.
and Darum and his girlfriend.
So
I can't
good.
remember her name.
It's got such TOS flair. Oh, Kyra. Her name's Kyra. But yeah, it reminds me of original series costumes, but it feels like a modern interpretation of them. I really liked that. I also like some of the stuff like surrounding the wedding that we saw. I like their weird little structures and like the whatever the like white liquid in the mystery jug was that was being like opened with a knife when Jaden comes in armed with the rock. Like I'm curious. I wish we got to see more of like the wedding customs because they seemed kind of fascinating.
There was something missing.
For 5 seconds.
I am in grief over the lack of fish faces.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. We should have seen some fish faces.
Even if it was just like 25 seconds and they explained it away, something.
I
'Cause
could
this is the
even
Keone
I mean, they
episode.
pseudo explained it away that like
Oh,
that
'cause
they
dry.
do this on this moon, and then they're gonna have their. My only big question was like when they said that they're gonna have like the big party on Koyonia the next day, and like there's a lot of drinking involved. How do you drink underwater?
Carefully.
That's my like biggest takeaway question here that I don't know. It's like the
They
three
got the
seashells.
alcohol.
Yeah, well, like,
that-
do
They
they?
just kind of swim through
That
it.
just leads to more questions. Like, do they live like underwater, or do they live like above water but by the water because they're like little mermaid guys? Like, I feel like we know nothing at all about the Kyonians except for that they can survive on the
Well,
hull of the ship
Caleb
and
was
have,
complaining about all
and
of
barf
Darren's
glitter.
underwater polytool.
and have sparkles, but or scales. But I like we don't learn much about Kyonia at all in this episode, and I'm kind of sad because I want to know more about the fish guys. They're one of the more interesting species we've been introduced to in a while, and it feels like we got to see the fish form one time in 7 episodes.
The
I
only
really
thing that
thought
I'm
when they said that there was going to be a bunch of drinking that they had like a kiddie pool full of whatever gets them drunk. and they just hang out in there, and that's their big party.
Oh
Like
my
maybe
God.
not a kiddie pool. You know those inflatable pools you get from Walmart?
Yeah.
Yeah, like something like that, just full with whatever it is that gets them drunk, and they just hang
Sculpt
out. They duck
rim
down when
against a
they need
giant
to get a
margarita.
drink. Like I had this whole thing in my head because of lack of fish faces. I was making it all up here.
Yeah, to go to what Norman's saying, like just before we came on, we're talking about that, and it's like, for me, I think it's a callback to Amok Time and how Spock's parents weren't at his wedding. Oh, but they showed up in a random episode like 10 episodes later.
But they told us that they were there. So like they were in
Yeah,
attendance.
they're in the credit.
So they're like presumably standing around with Kyra's family in that one scene where everyone's like glaring at Darum. And like I feel like either tell us they're not there, which is fine because that seems like on brand for his asshole parents, or if they're there, like make them be there, make them be like an annoying presence, make them have some like emotional conflict. Either have the parents like maybe realize their son is matured at Starfleet and like respect his
Make them like
decision.
T'Pring's parents.
Yeah, or have them continue to be asshole parents and have him defy them and be like, well, screw you, I'm gonna, leave and go back to Starfleet anyway. Like either of those would have given it so much more like weight to it when he makes that decision. Instead, Kyra just kind of like makes the decision for him. And it's not badly executed in terms of their little relationship within the episode, but I feel like it wasn't set up the way the stuff with his parents was. And it just seems strange to say that they're there and then not use that at all when we know how much of a complex he has around them.
They showed up in fish faces, and the queen wouldn't let them hang out.
How are you even breathing right now?
Anyway, the broader point I was trying to make going from the hair to this is that for me, the interesting little tiny tidbits like hair and a Klingon in an amazing fucking dress. Jaden's just absolutely rocking this goddamn thing. But that's all there is for me. And it feels like the rest of the episode just drags any bit of goodness away from just these couple of wonderful set pieces. And here was something that kind of bothered me, and maybe I misread it. Is Ake trying to grease Genesis's father's palm by hitting her up conveniently before she leaves on break? Like, oh, hey, say hi to your dad for me.
I don't think so. I think it was just to remind us that Genesis is basically Starfleet royalty and that everyone knows who her dad is in the same way that, like, everyone knew who Tom Paris's dad was. So I think it's mostly just, like, to, remind us that like, her dad's watching, everyone who knows her dad is watching, and so, like, she has to meet and exceed those expectations while also, like, defining herself within her career in the Federation. And
Is
so
she
she's kind of
on
in this
command
middle
track?
position.
No, she was going to be
Not anymore.
put on it.
Yeah.
But she
No,
was
no, I
revoked.
mean like Jaden has the blue stripe because he wants to be in medical. Does she have? Because and Caleb has a gray stripe because he's undecided.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was trying to look after this scene and see if she was on command track already.
I assume she was on whatever like
Is
officer track is closest to command track that you're allowed to choose, since pre-command seems to be like recommendation only. So I don't know what they would call her major, but I don't think we ever hear it named.
See, I went the other way. I thought Aki was saying that to her because she already knew of the reference thing, and she was trying to push her down the right path before she got to the point of recommendation.
Oh, interesting. I
mean, that would be on brand for what she's done
Yeah.
throughout the season and the way she's kind of quote unquote taught cadets.
I did not read it that way, but that would be her vibe, wouldn't it? I think she earnestly really was just going to recommend her. And like was excited to do that after everything they had all gone through.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like it's kind of her references did not understand the assignment, and I'm like mad at them on her behalf. Like, if you agree to be like a reference or write a letter of recommendation for someone, you write nice things in the letter. You don't say they're driven by fear, even if it's true.
Big afraid of fear. Everyone knows her. Everyone knows her. She just hates fear.
Fear, like the Michael McKean fear?
Yes, literally. Her father is Michael McKean.
Oh God, it's so Harry Potter too.
That
Because
would
Lupin is
be
like, seems like the thing
amazing.
you fear most, Harry, is fear.
It also, I think this was the first time it really landed with me why they made the character half lanthanite is it gives her this sense of recognizing patterns over time. So in a way, she can look at a student and just assess them pretty quickly because she has, oh no, eons upon eons of experience doing this sort of thing because they always frame her as a teacher. And so I can see, I mean, I think all of us in one way or another, like I was picked out in like elementary school, you're going to be smart. It didn't turn out that way, but they thought so. And so I felt like maybe this was just one of those times a teacher pulls you out and goes like, you know, you're really good at that music thing. Maybe you should study that.
On the same kind of vein with Ake, is Caleb Nala's Mr. Home packing her bag and being like, you know, a full
No!
like 2 feet taller than she is?
I could see the connection, but no, I think they're just like
Oh
they're
gosh.
family at this point. Like he would never ever admit it, but I feel like they've been family since like honestly since they met each other without really realizing it. Like that's why he's comfortable like making fun of her for what she's got in her bag and like helping her pack her suitcase while he like bullies her into letting him stay at the school. Like I'm sure he has a lot of complicated feelings about it, and we see that a little bit when he like complains about her not, you know, asking New Spraka about his mom. But I don't think he's ever had anyone in his life since his mother care about him the way Ake cares about him. And so I think that's why like they have this connection. Like she lost a son, he lost a mom. Even if it's Ake's fault, it's very clear that she cares a lot about him.
One of the things that really bothered me in this episode was him complaining about her not asking news about his mom. Like, bro, this is not the fuck about you in any way, shape, or form.
I think it's fine because he's a kid, right? He's very like his number one priority is he wants to find his mom. He has reason to believe Noose would know where his mom is. So like I understand him being mad that he was like in the room, yeah, drinking the tequila and Ake didn't ask, but I also think Ake has a pretty good response when she's like, he probably would have lied, and even if he didn't, don't give a sociopath like information that can hurt you.
But then also, as direct as these characters are, it's been like really, this hasn't become an issue within the past month.
Oh, I guess that's fair.
Well, it sounded like they'd argued about it before. Because she was like,
I
I know
that might be possible.
You're mad about this.
That's my Newstifer, the spin-off Academy series.
Written by Tommy Newsom.
I want that to actually be his name and not a bit so bad.
That would be great. One joke that did land for me is actually from this scene about the boots. That I actually did find humorous.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't really wear.
You have 4 pairs of boots. You need more shoes.
She's like the chick at the Turning Point USA alternate halftime show that like there were multiple takes and sometimes she's wearing shoes and sometimes she's barefoot. It's weird. Anyway, so in the same, not in the same scene, but like towards the end, how many hours of community service does Caleb have now?
Dude, he was not kidding when he said he's gonna die doing community service. Like, Jesus, he had the original 90 hours. He had the 35 hours from the Vitus Reflex episode, and then 200 more hours here. So he's at 325 hours that we know of.
Can we
He's
see
probably
like
worked
an
some of
actual
them, but-
punishment,
There's gonna be
please?
some- well,
Like, if they're not going to wrap him on the knuckles or whatever, like, can we see something that or show us how it affects his student life? Like I was saying earlier, like, show him like not being able to play the shoot the mascot game, like something that would actually matter to him. Because I mean, the menial labor at this point has just become menial labor, and that's what he does. Like he's been doing it since the day he got there. Like it just. I want to see someone break the rules and pay for it.
It would be nice if at least we saw him, like, someone ask him to hang out or something, and he's like, oh, no, I can't. I have to do my menial labor. Or, like, something like that to show us that it's actually a thing that's happening beyond the episode it happens in.
Because it just sounds like, I mean, we're watching him have all this free time, and yet he's like, and again, like I said, we don't see the consequences, so there doesn't feel like there's any consequences. And I don't know, I wasn't a hellion in high school, but like even I got in-house suspension, which is when you have to sit in one room in your high school all day. Like there are suspensions, there is detention, and maybe there's a different version of that at this academy, but it really feels like they're soft shoeing the whole thing, going like, yeah, at some point he had to clean the cafeteria. Oh well.
Just stick him in the transporter buffer.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say stick him in a transporter buffer for a week.
At least Genesis got some actual consequences by being disrecommended from the pre-command track, which, for her, Queen Bee, I need to be a captain Genesis, like that's gotta hit way harder than the menial labor for her, since like this was mostly her shenanigans that she dragged Caleb into unwittingly. So that
I do think that's good for her, because now she could go about it the right way and feel like she earned it instead of like got it given to her for the wrong reasons.
True.
I actually really did like how
Off topic, I put this here as a joke, and sorry, I'm lagging. Go on.
I liked how the two plot lines kind of mirrored each other. I noticed we often get or at least twice we've gotten kind of little parallel stories with Darum and Genesis and their like whole family deals. So I did think it was kind of nice that we got like both of them sort of having to overcome like those expectations and like the sort of pre-planned paths their families have for them. And I thought that was kind of a nice little way to tie both stories together.
That's the thing, though. I mean, ultimately, what ties the stories together in a bad way for me is that neither one of them actually have. Where we've had these like really nice moments learning about characters, like Sam's episode and Jaden's episode. I don't feel like I know Genesis or Darum any better at the end of this. Like, we already knew Genesis was an overachieving little pixie. We already knew that Jaden was awesome and he's a much better speaker, at his, like, at a wedding after, like, learning to be a better speaker earlier in the season. But I don't feel like I know Darum any better. He's still the asshole from Koyonia.
Well, I do think it was kind of interesting to learn that apparently that's not the personality he has on Koyonia, because Kyra seemed really surprised by him being described as like cocky and confident and all of that, and was used to him being more like shy, and she said like always a step behind her, so almost like a little bit like delayed and like in his shell. So
I guess if you were raised so maybe I'm making up backstory for lack of it, but like if you're being raised with the idea that someday you're going to be king, and you go from being sort of that everyone has expectations on me and I'm not going to live up to them, to being in a time and a place where you feel like you actually know what's going on and that you're actually competent. I can see sort of that change where now he's a big jerk because he finally is in his, his revolutionary era where he's figuring out that Starfleet is way more cooler than being a king. And I feel like that was part of what I got out of the episode with the Darren plotline in general was this sense of like, I have to go home and pull the Billups and say, I know this is what you all think I'm going to do, but I'm going back to Starfleet.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about like tying him to Billups. His
That's
situation
nice.
is a lot like that. You're right.
Yeah.
Except I don't feel like he was supposed to be like the king. He was supposed to be like the
Like a king consort.
Yeah, like
a consort,
he
yeah.
needed to take the role for her to get the power, but he wasn't going to be the ultimate one in charge.
But still royalty.
Yeah.
I do think they had I think they've historically also done a good job showing that like his parents have bullied him and he's grown up with that kind of like pressure and that kind of abuse, and so that's why like when he was within their sphere of influence, he has this totally different, like reserved, shy, beaten down personality, really. And then when he's free of them, it's completely different. But he still like craves that approval from them, which is why I wish they were included more in the episode. Because, and honestly, I think that's the problem with Genesis's stories too. We should have met her dad, Merle. I think rather than having her come back to the school and hang out with Caleb, like I feel like they could have had her like try to hack into it from like whatever space station her dad is on or something. But
or just
I
have
think
a freaking conversation over the Holo Network. Like,
yeah,
let us get a
like,
sense of
show
who
us
he
the
is, even if
dad.
it's not that she goes back to Earth or wherever she's from.
Show us the
But, like,
dynamic.
have a conversation with him.
I feel like they're keeping him a secret because he's going to be like a big name we're supposed to know or something.
I agree.
Like they're purposely hiding him from us.
Yeah, I could see that.
Descended from a long line of Parises.
Here's a thought. We haven't come back to that joke of Trent or whoever it was that that one building was named after in episode.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Gideon.
That they made
yeah.
a big, maybe that
would be
person.
Okay.
I would like that. That would be funny.
I can see how like if this guy's like this big name worthy person that we don't know of, maybe that's part of what like gives her great anxiety about not living up to the family dynamic.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of for me what's also missing from this episode, and I think it almost feels like that was from like the description of the episode with all of the students going home for the holiday. That's kind of what I was actually expecting to see going into it. When we knew that Genesis was going to get more screen time, I thought we were going to see her with her dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, like the episode just doesn't do that. And I think that's that would have been a more satisfying episode to like give us little like vignettes or almost like a mini anthology where you spend a few minutes with each of our cadets wherever they're spending the time. It would have actually been kind of fun to see Caleb with a host family. Honestly, I wouldn't have hated to see that. Yeah.
But then we wouldn't know about warp slugs.
I did kind of like the warp slug. I thought it was funny.
I mean, it's a funny bit, I guess. But it didn't like do anything. If it like, I mean, like I guess it brought the Caleb and Genesis more together, more trust or what. I don't know.
It allowed for Caleb to get over his
what it
Terima
is.
shit, and write that letter at the end.
Caleb and Terima dragging down
almost too
episodes when Terima is not there.
So
Brought it down almost too much because I saw there was like 2 seconds they were looking at each other and I was like, are they gonna kiss?
Oh, they were
'Cause,
totally. That was a moment, 100%.
Yeah,
I think,
really
though,
thought
in a
that
way, it showed how committed he is to Terima, even though he hasn't spoken to her in a month, because it could very well have been read, that he doesn't give a shit anymore, and that because out of sight, out of mind. But I think the fact that they had that tension for just a second, they looked at each other, and he was like, "No, thank you."
Okay, time to go.
Yeah, Norman,
Yeah, that
you're
was
not
nice,
wrong.
actually.
I was
Very good
thinking
moment.
that too. With the bat.
No sexy T'Pol dreams in this one, though.
Oh, Mr.
Oh, but
Captain, I
there
can
were
only
sexy
hope.
Terima dreams, so
Mr. Captain,
know.
I can only hope that Jeffrey Combs comes out and is like, I'm Genesis's dad. Hi there.
Oh my god!
Ooh.
my wife had pointed
Yes.
out that they'll where they like already flashed back to it. That'll probably be the one last week. Will probably be the one and only sex scene we get, and we just keep flashing back to it.
Oh my god. I'm tired of it already. But I'd be fine with no more sex scenes for a while. I don't need too much horny Trek. Just the right amount is fine.
You don't
In
want
the
Caden?
realm of horny Trek, though, my next question was: would this episode be better if it was just 50 minutes of Jaden rubbing lotion on Kyle on the beach on Ibiza?
Okay.
I do actually wish we got to see him in Ibiza.
If it's an
Hold
on-location
on.
shoot, definitely.
Hold on. That was one of the moments I really liked about this episode because it was no longer ambiguous what their relationship was. Now, granted, the bar kind of gave it big fat winks and big fat nudges, but I felt like this was them coming forth and saying, yes, goddammit, it's a gay mother effing Klingon, eat it.
If not that, then the little kiss at the end absolutely convinces you. Like 100% gay as hell, unambiguous. Although he also, another little mirroring parallel thing is he definitely had a moment with Jaden, with Darum too, during their little exchange when
The
he's like,
breathing
"Oh,
callback?
take my little jacket." And I will give the episode credit. I did like the role reversal of Jaden helping Darum find his voice and supporting him through a panic attack when he was stressed out. I did think that was really cute and shows how they're both supportive of each other and there for each other when things are tough. And I ship it really hard, and that makes me feel bad because I do love Kyle. I hope a thruple's on the table because otherwise, I'm sorry, Kyle, you're donezo.
Well,
But
Darum did allude to that in his first episode that he was with the two sisters and the brother or whatever.
yeah, and I mean, Jaden has two dads. He could be in a throuple. It could happen.
I just have to
Nothing's
say,
impossible.
as a super old queer, I get that currently when they say Ibiza, they're talking about a place that a lot of gays go to. But couldn't we just say Fire Island and be done with it? Because that's where the gay people really go when they want to hook up. Is like, hey, you got any plans this summer? Let's go to Fire Island. And so it was kind of like, I don't know, as an old queer, I was just like, oh, I guess this is the new Fire Island.
We're going to the
it's a Jaden meets
island of
the
the
family thing,
gays.
though, is
We're
what
going
I
to the
was getting
ruins
from
of
it.
Florida.
Was it was a family vacation that he was being asked to join them in
Whoops.
Ibiza for.
I did not mean to
Dustin
change
is
our
in
format.
control.
Resistance is futile.
I wonder what Kyle's home life is like because he wasn't going home.
Yeah, it would have honestly been really cute to see Jaden meet the fam and I don't know.
My conservative parents. Here's my Klingon.
Exactly.
Cute.
I know you
Yeah,
knew I
that's
was gay, but now I'm interracial too.
Interspecies.
Yeah, baby.
I wish I just do kind of wish that was the episode where we got a bunch of little vignettes of them. I really didn't hate this episode. It's just I can imagine so many better versions of it.
Right. Agreed. So, which is less annoying? Darum going home to get married only to be told he should abdicate his responsibilities, or Spock going home for Spock Amok, or in Amok time. Spock Amok was a different Amok thing with T'Pring.
I think this one was more annoying, and there was one really big thing that bothered me is we currently right now talk about the bridal kidnapping thing that the Romani do, and it's this big, horrible, terrible thing we talk about with women's rights and disrespecting the bride's choices and all these things. And A, he gets kidnapped, but B, what I hated even more is he knew it was fucking coming and he didn't tell anybody.
He didn't know it was coming. He
Yeah.
thought that he had years before this was going to
He
happen.
was supposed to finish Starfleet.
Yeah, and like have
happened.
a few years in Starfleet. What her mom
Yeah.
like had some kind of health scare, so suddenly they move up the timeline, and it sounds like nobody told him.
Well, because
he
his
was
parents
like-
were ignoring him.
Yeah, yeah. So he was just like, that's why he was like, "What? No, why? Wait!" When they like were in the middle of kidnapping him, knocking him out. So like that didn't bother me too much. Although I didn't consider any of the like human rights implications you brought up, and I do feel like that kind of does trivialize it a bit.
I feel like
What
the
was that?
biggest difference is in the Spock episode, as weird as it was, he actually had an obstacle to overcome. He had to fight Kirk. He had to do that whole thing. Here, it was just kind of like Darum wasn't active in his own choice.
Yeah.
It was just like his fiance just kind of said, "No, go be free. Go be Darum over there. I'll take care of things." And he's like, "All right."
Yeah, like I think if he had fought for her, she probably would have not made him leave, but like the way he responded made it pretty clear that like he was basically just waiting for permission, which like does fit with the more like passive version of him that like was described on Kionia. I don't know. I think we could have benefited from some flashbacks maybe like to child Darum or something, especially if they wanted to introduce Kyra as like the big nexus for like the emotional stuff. I think they should have like done something to make us like give a shit about that relationship, because as far as we're concerned, we're like, oh hey, random pretty lady, you seem cool, we don't know you, so I don't care that you're sad that he wants to go back to Starfleet.
We talked about no fish faces earlier,
Yeah.
Mr. Captain. You just missed it.
Yeah, distinct lack of fish faces.
Give me the sexy fish faces, damn it. I will fall in love with them, but give them to me anyway.
Drunken fish faces all day. And then Kyle
I-
putting lotion on as the B plot.
I love The Shape of Water. Give me the fish guys.
I honestly would have given this more points for everything we just said. But yeah, I have no more questions. So if you guys have stuff you want to talk about, like throw it out there, because
I don't think we talked about it in here, but the Reno scene. I think we talked about it before the stream. Did that do anything for anyone?
I liked it.
Yeah, it
I
was
thought
okay.
it was cute. I
I
liked
didn't
that.
remember it, so therefore it didn't have an impact on me.
I like that we're getting like continual little background reminders that they're together after we learned it a few episodes ago. And I did like the way it escalated and the way like Lyra was yelling like, "Are you alive? I can't live without you!" Like that was cute. That was
Oh, it
fun.
was the Cho
It's another
thing.
side of Lyra.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that Reno's in a relationship. Can I just be honest? After all the angst of her losing her wife in the way that she did, like, it seems weird to choose a woman who is the combination of two very violent species.
one of which
And-
killed your wife.
Exactly. So I'm happy they're in a relationship, and it is adorably cute. But like, it doesn't seem right to me, and it's not like I want Reno to be in mourning for the rest of her, existence. But
No.
it just feels a little, in a weird way. I guess it's because it hasn't been that much time since Discovery that I feel like it's too soon for her to be in such an established relationship. But I do think that they are very well matched.
I think it's only been like 4 or 5 years since the end of Discovery. And I definitely do think a couple more years of padding might make it make more sense. But I don't know. I guess I'm just less bothered by it, because to me the idea that she doesn't like hold it against the Klingons, or like or that she doesn't see like Jem'Hadar and Klingons like through that stereotypical light where like she wouldn't give them a chance, that feels kind of Star Trek to me, where like, she met Lyra and loves Lyra for who she is. It doesn't matter that she's a Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid, and she doesn't like blame her for that, 900 years later from Lyra's perspective. So I hadn't given that too much thought, honestly, as like a factor in their relationship. I think that's a really interesting thing to sort of factor into it all. I feel like I need to watch Discovery again more and more whenever there's like background Discovery stuff in here, because I'm like, I remember like 32% of this.
Did you see the pictures for next week's episode?
I did. I am excited to see
Yes.
Tilly
Okay.
again.
Big spoiler. But yeah, it
Oh,
looks
sorry.
like
I
we're
didn't
finally
want to
getting
spoil it
Tilly.
if nobody had seen
Um,
them, but hey, at least we got to see her because this time, from
Finally.
the moment it started, like the moment the rose petals flew, I was like, "Where's Tilly?"
Yeah. I
We'll
am
finally
sad that
we're
she
gonna see
didn't end up
proof of
being a
life.
bigger part of it. I think it's because it took like too long between when it was like conceptualized and when it was like actually getting going, and so she like was having schedule conflicts with her theater career, and it just sucks because I wanted Professor Tilly in every episode. That is something I had been
Yes.
looking forward to as soon as Academy was greenlit, and just took for granted that we were gonna get.
Or
And
at least
yeah,
like every other episode, like Jet and the Doctor kind of
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we do out of tens?
what does everyone ship with regards to Jaden? I've already given my answer, but I'm curious what everyone else thinks.
I mean, the whole, I don't know. I just want it to be Jaden and Kyle. No polycule there. But I think like in the cyclical nature of like youth drama, like, your 90210s and your Saved by the Bells, everybody's going to end up with everybody at some point in a rotating game of share the chlamydia.
Darum and Genesis will have like a week together or something. I am so torn because I think he has slightly more chemistry with Darum, but I think Kyle, like, conceptually is better for Jaden because like Jaden's been through hell. He could use a golden retriever boyfriend, and that's what Kyle is. Like, he is like sweet and kind and like light and comparatively like normal person complicated instead of like Darum complicated.
All right, old queer coming in with the old queerness. I think Caden needs a starter boyfriend, and I think Kyle is the starter boyfriend. I don't know. Oh, come on now.
Poor Kyle.
Is that like the starter house in life that you trade in later?
Know what goes where and how it happens. So it could just be that Kyle is the starter boyfriend, and Darren happens down the line when he's ready for it. I mean,
Ready for both of
I
them?
know I had a starter girlfriend who was the one that had to teach me where went what and how to do things. And so I think Kyle is that guy because he's not going to like run away the first time Jaden's like, oh, it doesn't go there. I'm sorry. Like, so I feel like he's the better, come on now. I think he's the better starter boyfriend. I think Darren's sort of going to be a lot more complicated, especially since we have the implied heterosexuality with Darren already. I think one of them is going to have to be more solid in their queerness.
Okay, he's bi.
And, like,
He
pansexual.
I think
has
he's
relationships
pan,
with males before. He was
Yeah.
really explicit about that. He did mention that he like ruined a relationship with a boyfriend by like sleeping with his sisters. So he's like a slutty, chaotic bisexual, which I do agree at this point is like out of Jaden's league in terms of like knowing how to deal with that.
But also, let's not forget that they implicitly put Kyle on the War College side. So I wonder if there's going to be friction built in that way between the two. Not classes, the two factions or whatever.
I had initially wondered if Kyle would be our like first Academy transfer. Now I don't think so much because I think it would look too much like he's transferring for Jaden. But I feel like I kind of got the vibe in Vitus Reflux almost that he kind of fits in more with the Academy vibes and maybe would have like, I don't know if he's supposed to be a first year cadet himself or if he's like a second year and picked the War College before the Academy was an option or something like that. But I thought that was kind of what they were maybe going to do with him and then develop the relationship with Jaden after he transferred. But since they like are developing the relationship with Jaden now, I don't think they're going to do that.
Or maybe Dark Vance is going to come back and take the War College on a vengeance run for New Spraka.
Oh, I hope nothing happens to Kyle. That would be sad.
All right, are we
I'm in a
ready to
silly
do out
mood
of
now,
10s?
sorry.
I guess we had enough where we're not going to end up doing a roll for episode tonight.
We're going to do a muck time. It's a roll for episode.
I mean, that would be a good follow-up because honestly, I like this
It's great.
one better. I'm not a fan of a mock time. The whole thing, like, okay, Spock and Kirk fight. It's iconic, and it's the only time in the original series where you get this hint that like Spock actually also had kind of a thing for Christine at some point, but couldn't act on it for all kinds of reasons. Where every other episode, it's just her throwing herself at him. Anyway, but I've never been a fan of a mock time. I like this literally one better. And it's again somewhere around number 600 out of 900 episodes of Star Trek for me. This show keeps going back and forth, and like it is a roller coaster. It's either 8s or 3s. But you know what other show was a lot of 8s and 3s? TNG.
Valid.
There was these like amazing bangers that weren't perfect, and then they were like, what were you thinking? Because that's where I am this week, where it's like, all right, this didn't move the needle. I'm just bored. There's nothing really negative for me to say about it. I find myself so bored at the end of the day. I'm at a 3 out of 10. Go ahead, Josh.
I think I feel similarly in that there wasn't anything that really annoyed me or was bad or actively terrible about this episode, but there wasn't really anything that made me want to watch this again. And like, if I'm going to do a rewatch of this season at some point, now that I have the information we got here about Darum's backstory, about Genesis's issues with her dad, is there anything in this episode that's warranting an entertaining rewatch? And I don't really see that. There's maybe a couple of moments that I found clever or a little funny, but nothing that really holds the episode up on a pedestal. And even the things we did see with Darum's story, and to an even lesser extent, Genesis's story, they're not elevating the trope or the concept to any level that really makes it their own. It's just a typical thing with our characters, and nothing about it's like, oh, this is a neat twist on it. So for the fact that nothing dragged it down, is that how you say that? Dragged it down. Nothing was actively bad about it. I want to give it a slightly higher score than an episode that's actually bad. So I'll probably go about a 4.
So when it comes to this show, I'm sitting in my closet crying. And the reason I'm sitting in my closet crying is because my biggest concern was this was going to be Star Trek 90210. And it seems like the interpersonal stuff has hooked me a lot more. I do like it when there's a little bit more meat in the episodes. But like what I found entertaining about this episode was the interpersonal stuff. And so I'm kind of in the same boat in that if they could have had just one like cataclysmic event, maybe, or even if it was just like Caleb's parent shows up and hates the Queen's parents and they're all getting sword fighty about it, that would have been more interesting to me. So for me, it's like a 5. It's but there's an extra point in there somewhere for solidifying that Jaden and Kyle are a thing.
Hell yeah, that's one of the best parts.
I think I found more to like about this episode than y'all did for whatever reason. I think maybe I just really aggressively want to like Academy, so I have a lot of goodwill towards it that I might be filtering everything through. I don't think this was like a great episode. It's definitely like lower end of like middle of the pack of the season, or might be the worst of the season, honestly, if you look at it with a really critical eye in terms of like the overall impact. But there was a lot of stuff that I admit I enjoyed. I liked the stuff with Lura and Reno. I did kind of like some of the stuff with Caleb and Genesis. I think it's nice to see them have a little more screen time and also see their friendship like develop a bit. I would have liked to see more of Sam and Genesis and Sam's friendship in this episode, I think. And I hope we get to see more specifically of their friendship moving forward, because they're clearly best friends, and we see that a lot in the background of other episodes. Like, it's Genesis who she was like pouring her heart out to at the bar in episode 5. And like they're just kind of always together, so you see that they're friends, but you don't get as much time to like really develop it as we did with Caleb's friendships with both Jaden and his weird like reluctant frenemy thing with Darum. I think both of those are better established in terms of actual screen time. So I it's hard for me not to like remove points from the episode for the stuff that I want it to be instead of what it actually is. But because I think in terms of what it's clearly trying to be, which is like a light, fluffy filler episode like Data's Day or Amok Time, or, you know, like a bunch of those like lower stakes, like sillier stories where like if you skip it, it really won't have like a big global effect on the characters, right? Like it's not a must-see episode. I do think it still does a good job at like being a fluffy filler episode. It's just when you only have 10 episodes in a season, it's harder to justify those episodes. But like I did like the stuff with Caleb, with Darum and Jaden quite a lot, especially their little back and forth, and their kind of like little moments. And so I think I'm going to give this episode like a 6.25. It's not like fantastic, amazing Trek. It's very much like middle of the road for me.
Before Scott goes, I just want to say that we were looking at like I asked my wife to look at my list of like all the episodes of Trek that I have ranked out, and the metric that we came up with was like this episode's one better than Data's Day and one worse than something else. So I thought it was interesting you brought up Data's Day there.
I love Data's Day.
I feel like it's in that same ballpark
that's an
where
episode
it's like
I rewatch
okay,
often
well
because
this happens.
It's easy. You can put it on.
But I feel like even that had more stakes.
You can put it on and you don't feel the need to actually sit down and like pay attention to every detail, because if you don't, it doesn't really matter.
So you're saying it's the sweatpants of Trek.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. That's exactly what
the
this
vibe.
is.
And the previous episode was like a Trek tuxedo. Great, but a little more like maintenance required.
A Treksito?
A Treksito.
Ooh, Treksito.
It was a dress uniform.
We're coining
The actual
new
dress
terms.
kind.
Yeah, where it's like we're bringing back the scant, and Jaden's gonna fucking rock it, and so is Darum too. God damn it!
Oh, they both. I want it so bad.
All right, Scott, do your thing.
All right. What I love about this episode, it's relatable. I mean, who among us hasn't chased a friend through a wormhole following ritual kidnappers as part of their wedding ceremony that you didn't know about, but now you're suddenly the best man for? That happened to me 3 times last year.
Me too. Constantly.
All kidding aside,
Same.
I feel like this episode raised a lot of questions that we've actually answered here. And apart from things like wondering what's going on with Terima and Jaden and Kyle's relationship going forward, I don't care about the aftermath of anything. You guys are talking about how this episode's kind of like a pair of sweatpants of Trek. As bland and forgettable as it is, I think of it more like mayonnaise, to be quite honest. And just to keep it short and sweet, and because I've already written it down, I'm rating it a 4.
Is mayonnaise toxic or not toxic, though?
Depends on how long you leave your hand in it, clearly. And what did they say?
I'm soaking in it.
It reminded me of like the anomaly consolidation day from Lower Decks.
Nice.
What did they call that? Like unknown biological discharge or something? And I'm like, okay. All right, we're not going to kink shame on the show, but all right. If this is how you want to spend your Saturday night, putting your hands in weird discharge, by God, you do it.
I thought that was what they called the holodecks waste extractive system.
Yeah, like I put that earlier in the ticker as like a punishment for menial labor, and then I thought about how much worse that's got to be in a school full of teenagers.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, it's been fun. Our average around a 4.55. That is probably the weakest of the season. And they're not all going to be bangers. There's never been a perfect season of Star Trek where like every episode was a 5 or above.
They're not
But
all
Academy-
winners is practically a catchphrase for me when I talk about Star Trek.
But I mean, to have
Name
like
78 examples.
in what are we've had 7 episodes and like 3 of them have been 8s or better. I think that's a pretty good ratio, honestly, because you're not going to get, it's never going to be perfect. It never was. It likely never will be. Yeah, but this has been fun. All right, we had an episode. Next week we get to reset. That's the beauty of episodic Star Trek. If you don't like the weather this week, wait till next Thursday. So, I would like to thank my co-host for joining me and for all of you that tuned in. Until we see you again,